Discovering possibilities and potential with passion every day. This is a TPPN production. Welcome to the iPad Possibilities Podcast, episode number 78, Journaling. Well, welcome, and this is the iPad Possibilities Podcast. This show discusses all things iPad and what people are doing with it today and in the future even. And today I'll be looking at a particular use case on how many people have begun to use the iPad. And that is, of course, journaling, as the title suggests. So journaling or diarying, or however you want to call it, is something that many people have tried to do on electronic devices in the past. I've tried to do it myself on the old Apple eMate, and I just didn't keep up with it. I tried to do it on my old laptop and different devices, and for whatever reason, it just never worked out, because for whatever reason, it just wasn't a personal enough experience. And I think that's what's really been missing from the old style of devices that were around before the iPad. It was not a personal device, even though you did own it and you did customize it and things like that. But with the iPad, it's a totally different ball game here, because it's basically with you at all times if you need it to be. It's your little, it's a personal little diary. It holds your secrets. It holds who you are inside of it. It has all your memories inside of there with tools like Evernote and different applications. But it's a very different electronic, personal electronic device that is very open to something like journaling, because it's with you so much. Text entry is so easy on this device that it really opens itself up to that kind of really, really personal using of this device. And it's something that most people would not have thought of them doing with their iPad. At least I didn't initially. It's something that has just only recently come about, as far as something that I personally would be interested in doing. So that's what this show is all about today. And I write for appadvice.com, so I recently wrote a guide discussing the same information I'm discussing today. And I wrote this guide because I was so interested in this for this podcast. So I wrote the guide first, and I'm kind of working off that outline that I wrote for that guide. That'll be up on App Advice pretty soon here. But I'll add in some other stuff, some other thoughts here. And with that said, let's just get on to the show for the day. And that is journaling on your iPad. So let's start off with my favorite app, and you guys probably already know what this app is. It is My Memoir. And My Memoir is what I call the essential app of journaling. It really is the very best app for journaling. And I'll discuss the other ones and kind of the advantages of some of the other ones that they may have. But first off, this one allows you to have more than one journal. So this enables you to have the ability to have a prayer journal, a personal journal, a business journal, or a bookkeeping way of doing things, or whatever it may be. So you can have multiple journals here, which is very cool and very useful. I found it very useful myself to separate out a prayer journal with, different things for a personal journal. So I think there's room for having at least two journals in your life, and possibly more. You might have a journal for just commenting on how, your business or work is shaping out, and different experiences you have there on a day-to-day basis that may not be the same as your other journal. So with that said, let's just open up one of the journals here. And this is an audio show, so I'm not going to talk about too much of the visuals here. But each journal, you're able to customize the color, the appearance, the look of it. And you're also able to have different security settings per journal, which makes it a very appealing way to have your journal set up. So you can have one that's not password protected, one that is. You can add pictures to each journal entry, and you can actually search by keywords and all those different things. The export options are pretty powerful, and that's really what got me hooked on this app is its export options. You can export as an EPUB document with each entry becoming a chapter, and you're able to pick your album artwork and all the metadata. You're able to enable that within this app during the export. You're also able to export as PDF and plain text, I believe, but EPUB, I think, is one of the killer features here. And another killer feature is, just the experience of writing. It's just a wonderful, pleasant experience that it feels very personal. And that is something that I think is very important for a journal. You need it to be a personal experience that you want to come back to each day to write about what was going on, what was happening in my life this day. So that is something I think really essential here. They have an in-store option, an in-app purchase, so you can actually purchase and upgrade to a new custom theme. So with this custom theme, you can fully personalize the background of any journal using pictures or colors, and it comes with its own stack of options. So it's $1 for the upgrade, and the app itself is $2. So with $3 invested here, I think it's a pretty powerful journaling application that just no one else has done yet. It's just well designed. I think they're going to do several updates to make it even better. But it's been the app that has blown me away as far as taking journaling to a whole new level on the iPad. The next application on the list of diaries that I was able to review is called My Diary. So this is another very good diary app. It's not as good as My Memoir, to my opinion. But so once you open it here, the first thing that hits me here is in landscape mode, it looks like it should be flipped over because it doesn't expand to meet the full size of the screen. So it works great in vertical mode as far as launching the application, but I think they should update this landscape launch to make it more friendly for landscape users, as many people are. And I'm launching it up right here. It is password protected, so you can do that with all of your diaries here. You can only have one diary. So let me launch it here. I'm still doing the password deal. And that is something you have to pick for yourself. Do you want a password protected diary? I think it is something that is important, but I'm not sure if everyone would want to do that because it does take more time to get into it. So let me do this password thing as I'm doing right now. I believe that the passwords itself can be any duration and length, which is a nice feature. I've ran across a couple of journaling applications that actually have limitations there, and that you actually need 7 characters or some weird number of characters. So with My Diary HD, my own diary HD, you're able to place media inside. And the cool thing with this app is if you're a guy that likes or a girl that likes stamping things, good day, bad day, normal day with smileys or frowny faces, this is one thing this app does really well. It has this good day stamp that in the background you can have this good day stamp that doesn't get in the way. It's non-obtrusive. And that's a very cool feature that this application has inside of itself. The writing experience is nice. It gives a pop-up and gives you the keyboard, and everything else is in the background dimmed away. So it's a very good writing experience itself. And you're able to, once you're right in there, you can edit it very easily. You're able to export it, and you're able to change the password within this application, which is nice if you need to adjust those from time to time. And you're also able to go to your previous entries through this little table of content type of interface. So it's a wonderful application. It's very beautiful. My downsides of it is it doesn't have multiple diaries, just like the other ones I'm talking about today. Is it only has one diary? I think 2 diaries, having 2 options for multiple diaries, is something that I would really enjoy. So and many people would. The export features are pretty cool. Besides it doesn't have EPUB, but it does have PDF, and what I think is pretty cool, they have secure PDF. So if you want to have your diary password protected as a PDF when you export it, you can do that in this application, and that's a very cool thing. And it does it works through the file sharing system, so that can be a downside for many people, but it works. It works fine. And it's a very bare bones diary application. So it works well, but it's I guess one of the more bare bones one out there, and it's another option for people. So that's My Own Diary HD. The next application on this list of journaling apps is called Max Journal. So MAX Journal. And this application is a more business looking application. So if you want a more businessy looking application, this might be what you might be looking for here. It's called Max Journal, and the way it's laid out as far as the interface is, it feels very much like a calendar, very highly tuned for journaling. So at the top, you have all the months listed out, and to the left, you have all the days and months that you can scroll through, and very easily they're marked in blue which days. I believe they're marked in blue. Yes, they're marked in blue to show you which days are actually being used to write journal entries. Now, the cool things are you're able to add photos like in many of the other ones, but the unique thing to this application is you can actually tag your journal entries. So if you're someone that likes to organize by tagging and find things by tagging like you do in Evernote, this might be a solution for you because this application does do tagging. And it's very bare bones, it's very professional looking, and it gives you a very clean interface for writing. This is one of the things it does very well, and perhaps it does it my favorite out of all the apps. And this is a good statement for this application, Max Journal. It gives you a very Write Room feeling when you're writing. And Write Room, if you don't know, is designed for the Mac and iPad and other applications and platforms to just get out of the way and let you write and concentrate on your text and not interfere with you. And that's what this application is all about. It's about getting out of the way when you write and just letting you write with this clean interface, this clean design. And that's what it's all about. So another cool thing when you're writing, there's this little timestamp on that'll actually say August 17th, 2010, 3:13 p.m. And it'll actually say what time it is as you write. So you can hit that timestamp and have that to tell you, hey, this is the time of day I was writing, and that might be important when you're looking back over your journal in years to come. So the writing experience is very nice. It's a very pleasant experience and something that I rather enjoy. So I really wish this application could merge with My Memoirs and have this clean interface with just basically adding the ability to have multiple journals and have the ability to export as an EPUB. Those are the two missing features, but beyond that, this is a fantastic application. You can change the font between, I believe, 15 or so fonts. You can change the font size very easily. You can set a password upon launch. You can do searching by tags or keywords or just the text inside there. You can export in any date range. You can choose the date range, and then you can export as a PDF in either a single file or multiple files. And you can choose to include images in those exports as well. You can do simple plain text, and you can also back up your entries here. You can create a new backup so you can have that to go back to whenever you need to. So like I said, it's a very powerful application that is, I think, more honed in on the guy journal or the business person's journal that wants to make it look more professional as far as the interface. And it does look a lot like a calendar. And I think that's it's a benefit. It looks, it's familiar. So it's called Max Journal, and it's a great application that I think it'd probably be second place in my list of journals if I were to buy one. And it's a wonderful application, so check that one out in the App Store. And with that said, let's get on to the next application for journaling on your iPad. So the next application is Chronicle, and it's for the iPad. They have a special version for the iPad. They have one for the iPhone as well. And it's a pretty amazing application for journaling. It's kind of hard to pick the best one. I think My Memoirs is clearly my favorite, but for those that don't want those multiple journals and EPUB export, this is another fantastic option. And the interface feels like a version of Notes, the built-in Notes application for the iPad. done in a just fantastic way. This is what Apple could eventually, they could buy out Chronicle and replace Notes with this application, because the interface itself feels very much Notes like. You have on your left side all of your entries, on your right side your text, and this is in the landscape mode here. And you're able to email each entry individually if you want to. You're able to adjust each individual entry with different font size, and the unique thing is you're able to adjust the darkness of the text. You're able to adjust between different shades of gray and black to make it suit your perfect need of text and how it looks. And that is a very cool feature of this application. You're able to add in between, I think, around 25 different stamps or images, like you could in the Good Day stamp feature of one of the applications I already talked about. But this one, you get all sorts of other stamps that you can include: lightning, music, storm, umbrella, crying, love, whatever it may be. So there's all these stamps that allow you to do some pretty cool things. So it has all of those nice customization options there. And it also has the ability to lock it just as the other ones. You're able to adjust the background color, this little border in the very background, kind of like your desk. It looks like you have a desk in the background. You can pick that color of your background, and it's just a little nice tweak that they've added to the application. You're able to have timestamps as well, and you're able to turn that on and off and append, and you have different options there. So you do have the timestamping. I think the execution is not as elegant as the way it's done in Max Journal, but they're there, and they're done really well. And it's just a very simple interface. And another cool thing is there's this little calendar icon. So you can actually click on that calendar and just go through your calendar, and it'll have a little dot under the number for days you have entries. So that's another just very natural way to find what your life was like on a certain day. So that's a very cool way of doing things. So yeah, once again, it's the lack of EPUB export and the lack of multiple journals that makes this one not my journaling application. So a lot of these apps are very close to being something I would highly consider to use. It's really close between Max Journal and this one, which is called Chronicle, but it's just not quite there. We're missing some key features, I think, for those that want that flexibility of more than one journal, that export flexibility to go to EPUB and all of those kinds of things. So that is Chronicle, and it's a fantastic little application for journaling on your iPad. So I think it's another great option for those looking for a really fantastic journaling application. With all that said about Chronicle, there's one thing I actually forgot, so I'm going back and adding this to the recording. I forgot the amazing export options of this app. So it doesn't do EPUB, but I'll tell you what it does do. It exports to Google Docs. So you export your journal, and it uploads your text of your journal to your Google Docs account. You just enter your username and password, and it uploads. And so that's it's a cool way to share and access your journal. Now, what I'd love even more if they could add is the ability to sync with Google Docs. I think export and sync, I think we need some syncing ability here. Would be very cool. And you're able to email all entries, which is not that stellar because it's all kind of merged into one document here. But the other really, really innovative feature of this application, Chronicle, is you're able to actually generate a website in this export ability. So you can export as a website. You just export as website, generate website, and then it's exported complete. And then you just go to iTunes, sharing, and then you've got this website that you can upload to any of your servers to have this journal now online as a website. So if you want to do this, you could probably create some blog this way. You can create a lot of, different kind of media this way by having this application Chronicle actually build websites for you. So there are a lot of great things in this application, and a lot I forgot to talk about these. So I had to have these in here for the recording because these are things that are very compelling for me to use this application. And I hope they do add EPUB. I hope they do add, multiple journals. And then I might use this application. So they're very close. And so is Max Journal. So just some fantastic applications. Those are just two other features that I completely missed in the initial overview that I had to talk about. So that's Chronicle, and it's a fantastic app for the iPad once again. So let's get on to the other applications for journaling on your iPad. So now we move on to some I did not really care for that much. And it's not because they were really badly designed or badly written, but they were just too bare bones for a journaling app on the iPad. It's an advanced platform, and it deserves advanced features. So the next one, the first one that I really don't care for too much is called iJournaler. And iJournaler is it's a beautiful application. It is just remarkably similar to a journal. It gives you that perfect aesthetics of this being a journal, and this being a great place to write, and this being a place I want to go back to time and time again. And it gives you all that. It gives you the fantastic experience during the writing. It gives you a very journaly way of doing things. And I absolutely love the beauty of it, the interface of it. But this is still, unfortunately, one of those applications that I cannot recommend at this time to anyone. And I'll tell you why. It's because it's too bare bones. It's, as I hinted to earlier, it's way too bare bones. And what I mean by this is your data, your journaling data, your diary data is stuck in this application. There are currently no ways to share this data to anything. You can't export as a PDF. You can't export as plain text. The only thing you can do is export as a zip file for use to reload within this application for backup. So you have the ability to back up, but you can open it up only within this application. And that's a just huge limitation that needs to be fixed. And although it's beautiful, it just lacks some key features such as this backup and sharing and exporting thing that really it's just hard to recommend. Even though it is one of the most beautiful journaling apps out there, it's just too bare bones. I'm looking forward to future updates when they add things like multiple journals, export options. Are they going to be the big one? But it right now is just way too bare bones. They've got a lot of just beautiful things, as I talked about earlier. It is one of the most beautiful applications, but it's just too simple, too bare bones. It doesn't make me feel like I want to come back to this because it just leaves way too much out. And if you want to know what it's leaving out, just listen to how I talk about the other applications, such as Max Journal, My Memoirs, and Chronicle, and in my own diary even. So listen to those, and that'll tell you what's missing, because those apps do it right. And that will tell you what is missing. So that's iJournaler for the iPad, and I'm hoping they'll update it soon for some nice updates and enhancements, but right now it's just not up to par with everything else out there. Along the similar vein of the previous app is this app as well. It's called Diary, and the other one was iJournal. But Diary is, hate to say it, even more bare bones than iJournaler. It is so bare bones that there is no export or backup ability at all. And that is something highly disturbing to me, that there's no way with the previous app, iJournaler, you could at least back up the data. You could save that. You could have that to reload into the application you were already using. But with Diary, if your iPad crashes, if your iPad gets stolen, if your iPad gets misplaced, your diary is now gone. And this is something that should not be present in this new age of digital media. We should have backups. We should have export options. We should have ways to get our data out of applications. We should have our data free from that. And this application, Diary, is just way too bare bones. It features no export options. It does have what it does have is password protection, a table of contents, various font options, and the ability to search. And that is about it. It's so bare bones. It's not nearly as beautiful as iJournaler, but it simply is not a good application for journaling right now. I hate to say it. It doesn't crash. It's well made, but how it's made is just too bare bones. This is just another app like iJournaler that I want to love. I want to just say this is fantastic and it's a great application that I want to use over and over again and come back to journaling. But right now I can't. I need some export options. I need some more customization options. I need some more journals. I'd like to have more than one journal. I'd like to have at least one export option or at least one backup feature. So this is an application diary that I would just simply not recommend. And with that said, that kind of leaves us off with all the journaling apps I reviewed. And there's just one more that I want to quickly mention, and we'll get to that right now. So the final application, you might be wondering what this is. Well, it's called Dreams. And this application is designed just for your dream journal. So when you wake up in the middle of the night, it's designed so you can just write down your dream as quickly as possible. And it's designed so it's supposed to be used in a dark room. So it's got black background with white text to make it easy to see everything. It's got the ability to email your dreams off easily. And it's got some nice export options. So you can export as just a plain text. And that seems like it's pretty good. So within the application, you can turn on and off visual effects. It's got some beautiful visual effects. It's got different backgrounds, different fonts, and it's just a great application if you're looking for a way to simply have a dream journal. So when you wake up in the middle of the night with your dream and you want to record it, you want to have that in your journal, I think Dream Journal is one way to go about that. It's called Dreams, and it's a pretty cool application. But if you're just going to find one, I would recommend My Memoirs as my top one. And the reasons it's my top one, as I've said before, is multiple journals as well as EPUB export. The other two great options, I think, are Chronicle and Max Journal. Those are the other two I'd recommend, and they're very close, neck-to-neck competition. I think we'll see a pretty competitive competition here in this place. So I'd love to review this in a few more months down the road and see what has come about with journaling on the iPad. Well, those were the journaling apps I discovered for the iPad. And I have to mention that all of the applications I reviewed today, I did get free demo promo copies of, so no cost to me to review those for you. But I just want to have fair and full disclosure there with how I review applications. Most of the time I get them for free, so I just want to let you guys know about that. And also, if you'd like to leave your own feedback regarding journaling on the iPad, you can email me at iPadPossibilities@gmail.com or call me to 209-542-iPad. And if you want to find out more information about this podcast, go to iPadPossibilities.com, and that's the show's website. And to support this podcast, you can go to tppn.tv and click on that membership tab and become a member today of the Possibilities Production Network. And that'd be a great way to support this podcast and gain access to some exclusive videos and audio content not available anywhere else. So with that said, you've been listening to the iPad Possibilities Podcast on tppn.tv. This is Tim, and I'll talk to everyone again for the Friday-Saturday show later this week.